It's Tuesday, October 7th, just following up on the SPY. On the previous video, I described how I bought some puts here, kind of anticipating that we would have a move lower. We did end up taking out the pre-market lows, and once we were doing that at that key inflection point intraday, we sliced right through there, which was getting below the halfway point of the prior day, which then gave us an outside day to the downside. So now we have higher highs and lower lows on a very short-term time frame here, the daily chart, and we have to see, does that just hold in here, or does that potentially, lead to broadening actions on a higher time frame, which would then start targeting down here, down here. We're going to see on the weekly chart on a Tuesday, do we stay below the open all week long? And if we start working lower, can we get to the halfway point of the prior week? If that happens, then all of a sudden you might have an outside day all the way down here. I'm not necessarily expecting that. I just think we're at a position here after a lot of exhaustion risk to the upside on the weekly chart, for example. We could close finally with a more solid red bar, and if we do, let's say it's kind of in the midway point of this green bar, somewhere into this green bar, then you might get followed through into next week. Although it's possible in the strong uptrend, like has happened many times before, the buying is comes in. But I just sensed on the daily chart the last 3 days on this upward move were red, red, red. Here's a fourth day red. So maybe after the short-term broadening action, people trying to buy the dip a little bit, like always, if it can't really rebound from here, then all of a sudden we start getting a little deeper pullback finally, and that's what I'm going to see, all at no risk right now. These options are up to close to 590. I think they were at like 460 when I last shot the last video. I bought them before that, so they're moving up, and I can treat this all at no risk right now. Also, I had a trade on Nvidia earlier that I described. I bought the call at 180 calls of 892. I scaled that at 975, and I decided to exit those once I saw the market breaking down kind of near my entry point at 870. So this was a small gain on Nvidia early. It didn't follow through. They're at 730 right now, those options. And you can see Nvidia, for example, had an orderly pause, but then all of a sudden it broke down like the market. But you can see here, even Nvidia is just trying to take out some liquidity, maybe before working up to that 190, 191 area that I described, in the previous video. So it just could be a lot of volatility in the uptrend, or it could be the start of a little bit of a deeper pullback, and I get to see it all at no risk. Again, the SPY here, it's it hit the lows of yesterday. That's kind of the higher highs, lower lows in the short run, but you can see it's a logical pause area. I don't know if this is going to have a major reversal to the upside and get above the open of the week, or is it just going to pause here and now work towards much lower levels? And that's a possibility, so I'm going to hold on and see what happens here. And again, just described on the SPY how on the daily chart, I just sensed that this is an opportunity here for a little deeper pullback, given that exhaustion risk and the red bars that were forming near the high. So let's see how the day closes, how much lower it goes today. Our next targets are here and here, and we're going to see, we have a lot of time left in the week to go a lot lower if it wants to stay below the open of the week. So we'll be able to judge that more by the end of the day. Right now, it's just short-term broadening action, higher highs, lower lows. But if this wants to hold in here and not really rebound, then we're broadening on some higher time frame targets, and we'll see some of the lower lows that might develop on those time frames, on that time frame as well. So market moving lower here. Let's just see by the end of the day where it ends up, and obviously going to monitor by the end of the week, what kind of red bar might form here or not. But if it does, then you can anticipate follow through maybe into the weeks ahead.